All right, now for more on this, we are joined by Deepika Bharadwaj, who is a filmmaker and also a social activist. Deepika, let me begin by asking you this. Now, this is a demand that's also been put forth by one of the BJP MPs there. Now the question is that, what do you make of this? Is there really a necessity for a men's commission on the same lines as a women's rights commission?
Yes, absolutely. I'm of an opinion that we do definitely need a commission or a panel like that for men. For a long time, men's rights activists in India who take a look at these concerns and issues and day-to-day handle cases where men are at the receiving end of injustice have been making this demand for a long time. Like you initially said in your opening part, apex courts of India have expressed extreme concern on what men are facing through false accusations. There are courts that have said that it is time to recognize that men also suffer, men also have their dignity. And the whole point of having a men's commission right now is that we, across every platform, whether it is at town level or state level or national level, we have women's cells at police stations, we have women ministry, women and child development ministry, we have women commission, but there isn't a platform where if a man is at the receiving end of injustice, that person can go and complain. So a lot of commissions are in place, but there isn't any for men. So I think it is time that we have a commission, and it is not just about false accusation, just to make it large and clear. It is also about a lot of other issues. The number of suicides by men in India are an all-time high. There are about 90,000 men that commit suicide every year, and a lot of these people are committing suicide because of domestic issues. And as a person who has been talking to men, I've made a documentary on misuse of dowry laws called Martyrs of Marriage. As somebody who talks to men on a daily basis, one thing that I keep hearing again and again is, why aren't we being heard? Why isn't there somebody to look at the evidence of innocence that we have? Where should we take our pleas? Why are our families suffering? Where is a platform where we can raise a voice? So I think thanks to Mr. Harinarayan Rajbhar that he has taken this whole point to the parliament, and hopefully there would be a very healthy discussion on this right now.
All right, I'll just come to the points that have been raised by Harinarayan Rajbhar in just a bit, but the question that I would want to ask you here is, is there a problem in terms of which the way legislations in India are drafted? Why cannot legislations be gender neutral? Isn't that what needs to be addressed here?
Well, the whole point is for any law to come in place, there has to be a data, there has to be a research, there has to be an analysis. What we have been saying for a long time, and when I say we, it's a men's rights group and people who look at these issues every day, is there is no body to do a research. So for example, when you talk about gender neutral laws, there has to be a reason behind it, there has to be a number of cases behind it. Now we lack a body, we lack a commission, we lack a platform that can even do research on this. Internationally, most of the provisions are gender neutral. When the research happens on gender-based crimes, the statistics are collected where females who are victims of such crimes is also assessed, and men who are victims of such crimes is also assessed. But in India, first, we do not have laws that recognize any kind of crime that is happening on men. We do not recognize domestic violence in men. We do not recognize cruelty as a criminal offense like it is for women on men. Rape, molestation, outraging modesty, sexual harassment, nothing, men are not considered victims of these. The laws do not consider men as victims of this. So there's no research, and that's why there are no gender neutral laws. So a commission like this would really put in place a mechanism to do a research. Our National Family Health Survey right now interviews women on the kind of violence, any sort of violence that they face within intimate relationships, but we do not have that kind of questioning from men. So we do not have a data. A commission like this would look at these issues and a lot more issues like men's health issues, like I said, male suicide, what is happening in the education system for men, child labor. There are so many concerns and issues that this commission can look at. And since yesterday, I am seeing a lot of backlash by feminists on the idea of commission for men. I really do not understand how setting up a commission for men would undermine the rights of women. It is like saying that setting up a commission of women has actually undermined the rights of men. So I think this commission is much needed, and like you rightly said, there is a need for gender neutral laws. And the simple point that Mr. Harinarayan Rajbhar is making is anybody who is a victim of injustice should have a redressal. That's the whole point. That's the simple point. I really don't know what is.
But are you convinced with some of the other reasons that are being given by Harinarayan Rajbhar, where he says that because of the draconian nature of Section 498A, he says that there is an increased number of live-in relationships. He's also given out reasons that prisons are full in India, and that is the reason as to why Nirav Modi and Vijay Mallya are not being extradited back into India. Are you convinced with some of these very spurious reasons that are being put forth by the parliamentarian here?
Well, there is no doubt that the Indian jails are overfilled. There is no doubt that the Indian jails are overfilled with number of trials. People who are extremely poor, especially men who can't even pay their bails, particularly to Section 498A. The 2015 NCRB stats state that there are about 1,31,000 people, men who are locked in jails, about 15,344 women who are under trials, who are under 498A in jails. There are about 9 lakh people who are awaiting trial under 498A. Since in the last 15 years, 27 lakh people have been arrested, and now that whole thing is happening. For example, recently there was a case in UP where a colonel of 76-year-old who has fought wars for us was sent to jail for 7 days on a false molestation case. So there are a lot of cases in which men are being falsely accused and they are sent to prison without any investigation, without any evidence. So I completely agree with the point of view, Mr. Harinarayan, not essentially extradition of Vijay Mallya and Nirav Modi, but yes, definitely our jails are being filled with people who are falsely accused right now. The misuse of 498 and now even misuse of 376 has been increasingly commented upon by the courts. So these are serious concerns. It's about right to life of a person. It's about constitutional rights of equality irrespective of gender. So I think it's time we have a need for something like this.
Okay, and just before I let you go, Deepika, question, the issue which concerns a lot of people, especially in a debate such as this, when they say that 498A is being misused, but the fact of the matter is it also addresses some very, very important concerns in a patriarchal society like India, where repeatedly there were these incidents where young brides for dowry, for various other reasons, were in fact at the receiving end because of our very, very patriarchal system. And that is what 498A was brought in to correct. So is it not right to say that yes, the issues of men will have to be addressed without diluting many of the good things which have been brought about by 498A?
Well, first of all, let me clarify, men's commission, the demand for men's commission is not just about 498A. Like I have said earlier, there are a lot more issues that need to be looked at for men from a body like men's commission rather than just law misuse. Coming back to 498A, the law was brought with, of course, a good intention, and there is no denial that there is violence against women. There is a problem out there, but a men's commission would not dilute it. All the checks and balances that have come from even the end of Supreme Court or the High Courts are to curb the misuse. Now, whenever there is an injustice, you know, the sense of justice goes away, and there are several. Mr. Ashwini Kumar says it in my documentary, whenever a law is misused, it loses the efficacy of that law. It loses the importance of that law. So that is exactly what has happened with 498A as well. Now, any amount of misuse of a law, of course, dilutes its efficacy, because people are like, this law is being misused, and even the genuine cases suffer. This has been something which the men's rights groups have been saying for a long time. Why do not you curb the misuse of this law? Who is the misuse helping? Why isn't there a recourse for people who are falsely accused and acquitted after years and years? Where are the compensation mechanisms for people, for men who are falsely accused? Where is any amount of recourse that is, it is very often said by the feminists that all our laws are misused and all of that. But we'll have redressal mechanism for all laws. But these laws, which even our courts are candidly saying that they are being misused, where are the recourse mechanism? And if they say there is recourse mechanism, why don't they show the data to back how people who have been falsely accused have been compensated, or how their lives have been looked at by the government, how the people whose lives have been completely messed up and destroyed, how any support or sympathy has been extended for these people. Recently there was a case where two men were acquitted by Supreme Court in an evidently case where these people were falsely accused in a rape case, as mentioned by the Supreme Court. 10 years and 7 years is what these two men have spent in jail.
All right.
Can we just look at the trauma that these people would have faced, and what is has there anybody who has, from the government side, who has said, okay, we will look at this case and see what kind of injustice happened to these two men, what were the facts of the case, what was the injustice, and look at if we can do anything for this men. So there is no doubt there is violence against women, and like Mr. Harinarayan Rajbhar has said, we do not want injustice happening on women at all, and that's why there are so many systems being placed, there are so many laws that are being revised, but that doesn't defy the necessity of cases where men are at the receiving end of injustice, and that's why we are talking about a commission for men.
Absolutely, indeed. We'll have to leave there. Thank you very much indeed, Deepika Bharadwaj, for joining us and giving us all those inputs. Now, this is a law that of course, needs to be looked at, because it is something where the issues, yes, 498A was brought in to address the issue of dowry harassment in a very patriarchal society like India. But should there be a men's rights commission on the lines of the women's rights commission? This of course, requires a bit of a greater amount of debate.